Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Winning Wednesday. Y'all know what time it is. Today is Wednesday, and we are bringing to you another segment on the power of investing in ourselves. I want to thank you all so much for joining me on this week's discussion as we continue to be intentional about the discussions that are going to happen throughout the month of February. And so I just wanted to tap into when we invest in ourselves, that can be a powerful thing. And whether, we are reading our favorite book or going out for a walk or just simply spending time with our family. I believe now, this is my personal belief. And so, when I believe that, that's just my personal fact. I believe that the power increases when we are intentional about it. So, as we focus on realizing the power that we create by investing in ourselves, it's just a few topics I want to speak on. We don't we try to keep each segment under 30 minutes, and so I I thought about these things, and it's just a few that I want to speak on. And so, you know, I believe that if we uh, practice these steps, um, and incorporate these daily thoughts as we move about our daily tasks, it'll help us to help create that power and raise the bar when we're investing in ourselves. And so my first point that I want to speak on is and y'all don't forget to leave your comments. Don't forget to leave your comments in the section so we can talk about it. A conversation works both ways. So, my first point I want to bring out when we're talking about the power of investing in ourselves to create that winning attitude. So, we putting out these positive vibes into the atmosphere. The first point, life becomes a whole lot simpler when we decide to just let some people misunderstand us. When we spend a lot of time um, trying to explain ourselves to people who's not gonna believe our version anyway, that takes a lot. That takes a lot. And so that's pulling away that extra daily devotion time, or just, you know, writing in our gratitude journals, being reminded of what we're grateful for. When we spend a whole lot of time trying to explain ourselves to people who's not going to believe us anyway. And when we can learn to let go of thinking about those types of people, um we can fill that space with positive energy. And so it's not easy to do, and I'm not going to pretend it. At least it's not for me. It was not for me. But as I work on myself and practice these practical tools, I'm beginning to realize how simpler my life is when I just let the people who misunderstand me, just let that go. I mean, just not spending a lot of time on explaining myself, because we are in this together to create a better version of ourselves. Um, and so dropping those people who misunderstand us allows us that free space to work on us. And so that is the first point, I wanted to talk about, you know. And again, if you're taking notes, my first point was life becomes a whole lot simpler when we decide to just let some people who misunderstand us go. Just let them go. That's my first point. Alrighty, so the next point I wanted to touch on is and all of this is in reference to, remember the topic, the power of investing in ourselves. And so, the power, it could be negative power or energy, or positive power or energy. And so when I bring it, you can look at it as, what are you going to decide to do? Be filled with positive energy or negative energy? And just letting those people who misunderstand us, just letting them go. Honey, we got so much more room to fill with positive energy, and invest in ourselves. And my second point is, now we know that some people, they find great pleasure in provoking a negative reaction from us. I call that petty. Now, if some of y'all follow me on Facebook, I'll post from time to time that I'm being petty, and I'll be petty with my sister because I know it'll get a rise out of her. I would just, something will run across my mind and I know it's petty, and I'll intentionally, send it to her because I know it's petty. And so when I think about that, you know, really, in a nutshell, that's being petty. When people, constantly, or not even constantly, they get pleasure out of provoking a negative reaction. But guess what? The greatest pleasure is giving them no reaction at all. And that takes some superpower strength, because it is more powerful to remain silent than to react, I believe. Because if we react, that's instantaneous gratification. That's instant gratification right there. Let's just give a reaction, falling right in the trap, falling for a hook, line, and sinker. Listen, it takes superpower to remain silent. I know it does for me. The more I do it, the easier it gets, but it's not always easy. And so for those, people, and in order to recognize that, you have to be able to recognize people and allow that gut feeling you have to lead you. Because and it's sad that some people really do have great pleasure in provoking a negative action from someone, especially when you are trying to do good, and when you're trying to be a better person, and just trying to be, the best version of you that you can. That's when it seems like it happens the most. But what's so incredible about that, like I said, is just remaining silent. you have the right to remain silent. And I know, trust me, that takes some superpower strength to remain silent. And but that all gives us the power. It reverts the power back to us. And I shouldn't say back, because when we don't respond or when we remain silent, we continue to grasp and keep that power. Um, and that is power investing in yourself. Because when you invest all this positive into you, you just you're a better person inside and out. That's what we're creating, a better inside. So what you see on the outside is going to project a positive energy. That's what it's all about. So we're going to leave those pleasure provoking these negative provoking people alone. We are going to drop, just leave those people who just drop the ones who gonna continue to you know be misunderstood by what we do. We're not going to take a lot of time to justify and explain that we're not bringing power to ourselves. We're giving them the power. We're giving them the power, because at that point, when we start trying to justify our actions and why we said something or why we did something, we're giving them the power, because now we're trying to appease them and make sure that they're good. Well, what about us? So we're going to drop those people who's just going to continue to misunderstand us. It is not our job for them, and it is not our job to explain to them and try to give them what they want, because they don't want it. There is nothing we are going to be able to do to deal with the people who misunderstand us. Listen, we're going to keep it moving, and then we're going to remain silent. We're going to remain silent for the people who's, being petty. Being petty. They just looking for that pleasure of provoking a negative reaction from us. And so, but we gonna channel in that superpower of remaining silent. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna remain silent. We're gonna drop the people who misunderstand us, and we're gonna remain silent on them petty people, and we're gonna keep it moving, because we are in the business of creating a winning attitude that's gonna cause us to win in life, win in whatever areas that we feel, whatever areas that's going to continue to help us to live out our purpose. Yep. That's what we are in this for. So, yep, we dropping people and we remaining silent. How about that? You have the right to remain silent and keep it moving and continue to pour in positive energy. Surround yourself, with people who want to see you grow. And you recognize, you will know the people who want to see you grow and who wants you to be your very best. And they're not going to be people that's just like us. That opposites attract. That's a real statement, because if I don't know how to do something, but I'm surrounded by someone, or I have someone in my circle that does know how to do it, now we're complementing each other. That's win-win. I do not want to be around somebody who has all of the skill sets that I have. I want to be around people who have a different skill set. Not saying that we can't share some of them, but I do not want to be around people who, they know how to do exactly what I know how to do. And I know how to do exactly what they know how to do. We're not bringing anything new and fresh to the table. So that, I don't know where that came from, but that's not in my notes. But still, that just felt like a good point to make. And then, the last point that I want to touch on is we all deserve people in our lives that don't have misconceptions about our personalities or our intentions. I want to say that again. We all deserve to have people in our lives that do not have misconceptions about our personalities or our intentions. I remember, one time back, many, many years ago, around about many years ago, on a job, I had just started, and I had this lady. I would always eat lunch with her every day, and I remember her telling me, well, I had to explain to them, you are really a nice person. They just have to understand you. And I remember thinking, you don't have to explain my personality to people. Honey, it's not your job to get them to understand my personality or my intentions. Because number one, I'm going to call it like I see it. And number two, I'm not going to change it because you don't understand it. That's me. I came here to come to work and at the end of the day to go home. So it's really not it's not our jobs to invest in trying to explain and, well, my personality is this. Well, you being in the company of people, you will be able to tell me what you see my personality is. I'm not going to sit and try to explain my personality or my intentions, because if I say that's what I'm here to do, now whether you spend a lot of time trying to figure out if that's really what I'm here to do is not my concern, because I have made my intentions known. And until I show you otherwise, and vice versa, until I see otherwise, it's really not, it's not my job to explain my intentions once I, you know what I'm saying, once I bring you up to speed. If I'm here, okay, that was for a job. So naturally, I went there to work. So any other intentions outside of that is not necessary for me to take a lot of time to get you to understand, because I thought that's why we all were here, number one. And so I just thought about that while I was going over this, you know, that kind of like blew my mind, because I'm like, well, don't do that. I don't want to spend time trying to break down my personality traits, because how I make you feel when we are in the same space, that's on you, how you perceive my personality. It all goes back to we own our own feelings, and it's not my job to explain my personality or intentions to you, and it's not your job to explain yours to me. How about that? And because remember, we have to invest in ourselves and be intentional about creating a more powerful and winning attitude. And we begin to learn that when we do that, we begin to learn and believe and feel on the inside that we are enough and that we are worthy. We are unique. We're not supposed to be exactly the same, because somebody is being fake if you are. That's just my little tidbit. I just wanted to throw in there. Somebody's being fake. Somebody's not real. And so, you know, we are investing in ourselves. When we invest, I believe when we invest in ourselves, um, it's a powerful thing, especially when we intentionally invest in ourselves. And so we draw power from that thing. And so, I think everybody has 24 hours in a day. And I choose to spend, if I'm going to invest in a person, it's going to be me. Because when I invest in myself to be a better me, to put out, positive vibes in the atmosphere, that is only going to make me better and the people that I'm around better. And that's why I feel like the power of investing in ourselves produces a winning spirit. We are winning because we are winning to be the best versions of ourselves, to create a better inside so we can project a better outside. That's what it's all about. That is what these talks are about every Wednesday on Winning Wednesday. And so I just want to thank you. Thank you all for joining me this week. And don't forget to leave your comments. If any tips you have on, creating that, that the power of investing in yourself, any comments you might have on that topic, don't forget to leave them. Conversation works two ways. And also tell your friends about this podcast. It may not be for you. You might listen to an episode and you say, oh, well, that's really not for me. Tell your friends about it. You never know who you might be helping. So thank you again for joining us this week. And until next week, remember, continue to inspire, continue to empower, continue to motivate. And then that way, you and I and everyone in our space will be working on creating that winning attitude and create that desire to be a better you inside. So again, thank you, and I will see you next week on Winning Wednesday. The power of investing in ourselves is this topic.